If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Dunkin and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Hellming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick Six Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic Podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, Two Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.
Sorry.
Yeah, Mike, you got the Rona?
Still with the fucking coughing all these years. Oh, God. All right. God damn it.
10 years and still going strong.
Everybody's a suspect!
You're listening to Rabbit and Red.
Robert Shaw was a tough motherfucker.
Right.
They don't make that anymore. He wanted to punch Richard Dreyfuss on the set he couldn't stand because he's a pussy.
Fuck you.
God damn you.
Welcome to Rabbit and Red Radio.
And I know that you like Jason Takes Manhattan, but my question to you is, why?
Okay, hey, pal. Okay, you're gonna tell me Halloween. You know what makes me mad about you, Mike? I'm gonna tell you one day.
Yeah.
You know what makes me mad? That Halloween 6, Halloween effing 6 is your favorite movie?
It certainly is.
Jason Park.
I wonder, though, what it would be like to go out there in the wild as things are now.
Let me tell you, it gets pretty wild, especially if you're carrying a pack of toilet paper.
Oh, so do they, like, try to tackle you and wrestle it away from you and be like, no, it's my fucking toilet paper, asshole?
I haven't seen that to that extent, but as soon as they roll a pallet out, a big shrink wrap pallet of toilet paper, they'll tear into it.
Ooh. So does it last at least 5 minutes, or is it gone?
It's slowing down a bit now. I mean, still, if they put any out, it's gone by the end of the day.
Wow.
But there's not like people waiting in line for it anymore.
Well, that's good at least.
At least not that I've seen.
Well, I'm sure you had like lines wrapped around the outside of the store for people to get like hand sanitizer, toilet paper, all that stuff.
Oh God, we haven't had hand sanitizer since this whole thing started.
You still don't?
No.
Wow.
Or if we've gotten
It's
the in,
that
I haven't
bad.
seen it.
That's unbelievable. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
I really can't.
Still on the paper goods and meats, anything in the meat department. I mean, they're still stripping it all bare.
Wow. That's crazy. People are nuts.
Yes.
I can't imagine it. But I do have a story because.
Oh, I
know,
like stories.
Well, you know, mine are somewhat weird and quirky, I guess, for the most part. But I decided that I wanted a decent cup of coffee. This was last week. So I utilized DoorDash. And I got from Dunkin' Donuts. I ordered myself a hot coffee. Very important that you hear hot coffee with blueberry. A turkey sausage, egg and cheese sandwich on a croissant with no cheese. I don't prefer cheese. I don't like cheese. So the guy comes, he brings my food. I bring it in. First off, it's an iced coffee with blueberry. A week prior to this, I had also ordered from Dunkin' Donuts, and they had also given me an iced coffee. Now, I can't drink iced coffee black because it's too bitter. I can't do that. It tastes like shit.
Well, iced coffee is an abomination anyway.
Well, yeah, well, I have
That's
to,
just my opinion.
Well, yeah, I don't prefer it. That's why I wanted my black coffee with just blueberry in it, which normally they would have no problem with. So this previous week, I just loaded it up with cream and sugar. The amount that I put in still wasn't enough because it tasted horrible. So I just dumped it. I couldn't finish it. Now, this coffee that I got, I'm like, okay, so 6 sugars and like 4 creams isn't going to cut it. So you have to add more. So I just got a shitload of sugar and just dumped it in the thing. I had no cream or milk or anything. So
You.
Yeah, so I just dumped a bunch of sugar in there. And then I fucking drank it. And let me tell you something. It was so fucking sweet that I almost vomited. In hindsight, I put too much sugar in it. So I ended up again dumping it and not having coffee. Very upsetting that day was. Then I go to eat the sandwich. So I open it up, fucking slathered with cheese, just dripping off of the croissant. Do you know how disgusting that was? That made me start dry heaving.
Oh, I love cheese. I mean, I don't really know how disgusting that is. I'm sure for you. And I have a dairy allergy, but I still love cheese.
Really? Do you take Lactaid for that?
No, I just stay away from milk and most of the time, and I'm okay if I don't eat it or have milk on an empty stomach. It doesn't bother me that much.
So is it kind of like you, or you're like me? So let's say that you have dairy or milk or whatever. Like, do you find yourself having to run to the bowl?
When I was a kid, yeah. Of course, when I was a kid, I'd have cereal for breakfast every morning, and I don't eat cereal for breakfast anymore. But I'd have cereal with milk, and just thought it was normal. Whenever I'd get to school, my stomach would be all tore up, and I thought that just was the way life was.
But then you learned years later that.
Jesus Christ, Mike!
That, well,
you've got me talking about my bowel movements now. There is no hope for you, man.
It's bound to happen. Yeah, but it's bound to happen eventually. Everybody has bowel movements, and now you're discussing it too. See, this is what happens.
Everybody talks shit.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody talks shit is A1 right.
We
Yeah,
just
which
lost
have you-
our one listener.
Oh, well, if we only have one listener, I'm going to be disappointed.
Well, like I just said, we all learn to live with disappointment.
Well, that's a pretty big disappointment, honestly, unfortunately. Did you get a chance to listen to the last episode at all? Like, have you...
Oh, yeah, I checked it out.
I thought it turned out pretty well. I enjoyed it.
Pretty well. Yeah. And you did a pretty good job editing, too. I only had a few cringe moments listening to myself.
Believe me, I get the same way with myself. I can't stand to hear myself talk. I'd much rather
that makes
put a
two of
bullet
us.
in my brain.
Well, hey, you're talking about listening to the last show. Have you got any feedback on it from anybody?
Well, it just so happens that we have something.
Oh, yeah?
And
I'm intrigued.
I debated whether or not we should even listen to it. Our old friend, John Rhoades.
Ah, the Rhoades
decided, King. Yeah, the Rhoades King, all right. Has decided to send us a very overproduced voicemail.
Voicemail, really? I thought people just sent clips anymore.
Well, he decided to go the voicemail route, and what he did was he put music behind himself talking, and I think he opened a can of probably Mountain Dew, because I think that's what he drinks, to simulate that he was drinking some more manly beverage. I don't know.
Well, hey, let's listen to it.
Here is the he likes to think it's probably a clip, but it's really a bastardized clip. It's more of a voicemail that is way overproduced. But here it is.
Because I think that's what he's good at. But he's made a couple good films. I won't lie. I think he was best when he was kind of telling more personal stories early on in his career, and he's kind of lost his way now. Seems like he's just doing it for money, and whatever. So, Mike, I'm glad you're on board with the fuck Kevin Smith. Now I just have to fully turn you around that Bruce Campbell is fucking amazing. Oh, and you guys are welcome for the best produced segment on this entire fucking episode.
Oh God, that was horrible.
Well, that's interesting.
But really, who cares what he has to say at this point? Do I care? No. I mean, he tried to give Kevin his props just a little bit, but no.
Hey, and I didn't mean to insinuate he was a millennial. If you go by the traditional description of a millennial, then technically I'd be a millennial too, because it's people born from 1980 to 2000.
Wait, so what am I? Because I was 79, so what?
That's Gen X, right?
Is it? I have no idea.
So, yeah, isn't that how it goes? The boomers, Gen X, and then millennials, and then whatever they're calling the current generation.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to refer to him as a shit-ennial. He's not a millennial. He's a shit-ennial.
A shit-ennial.
A shit-ennial. Like a shit demon, he is a shit-ennial.
Shit-ennial.
Yes.
Mike talking shit again.
He's not Rhoades King. He's Rhoades, the shit-ennial. I like it.
Well, if he had a more open sexual orientation, he might even be a bi-shit-ennial.
You know what? I wonder, maybe he is a bicentennial. Maybe we should call him up and ask him that question. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, good luck with that, buddy.
Well, yeah, he really doesn't have time, what with his movie Misfits and all. That's finally going to be happening 20 years from now. But still, I digress.
Please digress.
I don't know what I digress to, but yeah. Poor Rhoades King. Well, oh wait, no, he's not Rhoades King. He's Rhoades Shit-ennial.
Oh my.
I should tag him in a post on the group page tonight and have it be like, "Hello, Rhoades Shit-ennial. How are you today?" Wonder if we'll get it. Probably not.
Better be careful, Mike. I can see Rhoades driving all the way to your house, dragging you out and beating you until you're crippled.
Well, that's not gonna. I'm not gonna end up any worse for wear with that one. So, bring it on, Rhoades Shit-ennial. Bring us more overproduced clips. Oh, voicemail. No, clips. That's right. He likes to. We'll just, you know what? Every time he sends a clip in, we'll call it the Rhoades Shit-ennial Showcase.
Oh, God.
RSS. Ooh, the RSS feed. I like it.
Oh, you put way too much thought into this, Mike.
And it's weird. That just popped into my brain and what? Wow. So that must mean that I'm smart. Probably smarter than he gives me credit for. Wow.
Well, Mike, come on now. Whoa.
I mean.
Have you been drinking?
No, but I could start.
I recommend it.
Maybe for the lounge segment later in the show. All right, but I guess we have Jack O'Halloran, a famous boxer turned actor, and now novelist or writer or whatever you want to call it. He will be joining us right after this.
This is Bo from LegionPodcasts.com. Hey, it's been a crazy time, and when the world gets nuts, we're happy to offer some old-fashioned podcast entertainment. But for some folks, getting a laugh out of a show isn't really helping these days. People who depend on tips in their bartending jobs or have been put on furlough with no pay till the worst of this coronavirus threat has passed. That's a tough spot. That's why we set up a GoFundMe for members of our community, a sort of grand-scale take a penny, leave a penny. For people like myself, for whom the recent disruptions haven't kicked us out of work, well, we can drop a few of those extra pennies in the GoFundMe jar. For those who are directly affected by recent events and find themselves looking for money to pay the electric bill or keep the water on, well, how about you give me a shout at Bo, B-O, at LegionPodcasts.com. Let me know the situation and what you need, and we'll do our best to make life a little easier. And you can find links to the GoFundMe on the front page of LegionPodcasts.com, on our Facebook group page, or on Twitter at Legion Podcasts, where it's the pinned tweet. For those of you who are able, thanks in advance for chipping in. And members of our community who need a hand, hey, here we are. Remember, stay safe, stay healthy, and we're all going to get through this together. Legion isn't just a name, it's who we are. Thanks for listening to all the shows here on Legion Podcasts, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, welcome back to Rabbit and Red Radio. We have a very special guest with us tonight. He's a Hollywood legend who's worked with everyone from Robert Mitchum to Tom Hanks. He's the one, the only, the iconic Jack O'Halloran.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. So, Jack, what have you been up to, man?
Getting ready to republish my book and publish two other ones behind it. And,
yeah, Family Legacy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody's kind of excited about what we're doing. We got it set up to do the film, and we're putting together a series that is going to be monstrous. Because we're combining my book with Charlie Luciano's Last Testament, and we're going to tell a lot of truth about things that happened in the country. So it's going to be kind of good, Time that people were told the truth about some things. Everybody has all these conspiracy theories and all this stuff, and there remains to be a direct line of truth. So it's time that we did that.
Amen.
People don't understand that. In the very beginning, like 1900, government, industry, organized crime, and unions were all partners, all the way up to the Kennedys in the 60s. And then the government decided that they didn't need partners any longer, so they started turning on everybody. People were thrown under the bus, and a lot of theories were put out there that were totally untrue. And just, so the first book I wrote, Family Legacy, goes from my father's death, who was a pretty infamous man in New York, to Kennedy's death. And we tell the truth about the Kennedy assassination.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it sounds like this book is making some pretty bold statements then.
Well, they're not. They're truth. It's not just. It's making statements, but it's telling the truth about what exactly happened, and why it happened.
Yeah, well,
and they told so many lies about it. I mean, the media covered things up so much. The whole Lee Harvey Oswald thing is a total media farce. Lee Harvey Oswald never shot anybody. In fact, he wasn't even in the building, and there were 13 shots fired that day. And you don't make anybody that knows anything about weapons at all. What he was supposed to have shot Kennedy with was a bolt-action rifle that he got through the mail order. If you're shooting a shot over 1,000 feet with variables like there were at Dealey Plaza, wind and a car moving on a decline and signs and trees and all kinds of things, it takes a sniper, a very good sniper, 60 seconds to arrest his heart before he takes any shot and take in all the variables that are there, because his finger has pulse on it, on the trigger, so he's got to take his pulse down to 60. So that he has control over the trigger, and to take 3 shots in 28 seconds with a bolt action rifle is totally hogwash.
Oh, I agree completely. I mean, even at a stationary target.
Well, and you got to understand something, that when you see the Zapruder film, you see Kennedy's head blow out the back. If you were shooting him from the back, it would blow out the front, wouldn't it? And
absolutely.
Kennedy was actually shot 3 times, and that's all been confirmed. He was shot first in the throat, and I know who took that shot and where it came from. And then he was shot in the lower back, which nobody knows where that came from. And then the last shot that made him fly backwards came from the guy driving the car, Greer. So, all the shots are accountable for. And the Zapruder film, in its total, without the 8 seconds cut out of it, in the total Zapruder film, it shows the driver turn and take the last shot.
Oh, wow.
They fudged everything. You had Zapruder film was taken by a guy who never held a camera before, who had suffered from vertigo. He had 2 women holding his legs, yet he never took his finger off the button the whole 28 seconds with all the shots being fired around him. And the film was sold to Life magazine for $150,000 before it was ever shot.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And these are all things that are known. All this stuff came out every 10 years. They come out with new stuff. And, and if you were going to ask a question of who would be one person that would be responsible for Jack Kennedy's death that day, it was his father. Father made a lot of enemies of people. Jack Kennedy, if you look at the medical history, would have not lived out his term. He was dying of Addison's disease very badly, which is a total deterioration of your spinal cord. They shot him up every day with doctors. And he had syphilis and 2 other diseases. So he wasn't going to live out. And his father would have rather seen him die the way he died than to die with a medical problem and put a mark on the family. And you may say, well, that's kind of cold. Well, if you think that's cold, then what did he do to his daughter who suffered from ADD, and he lobotomized her, and she sat in an institution all her life until she died, looking out a window.
Wow. And it's just amazing how the media buries all this and manipulates it.
Well, the whole Warren Commission was garbage. You know, the whole media put up about the one bullet theory. You know, the first guy that got shot was Conley. Conley fell down. Jack got shot from a shot that came from a cauldron in the street right on the right-hand side of the car, and he grabbed his throat and he fell forward. Then the third shot hit him in his lower back. Second shot. Third shot was the driver when you see him shoot backwards. And then you see Jackie trying to climb out of the car. They said, oh, she was trying to collect his brains. That's garbage. She thought they were killing her next. She tried to get away. And if you watch the Zapruder film, you'll see the Secret Service people peeled away from Jack's car before any of the shooting started. They all had to run back up to the car again. But it all happened in 28 seconds. So a lot of confusion, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You know, nobody really had time to think or react for that matter.
Well, the cauldron on the side of the street was huge. It ran from the river to the street. They just cemented it in a few years ago because they were down there trying to do a documentary. And it was big enough for me to walk down. That's how much room was in there.
Okay, so pretty big.
Johnny Roselli from Chicago took the first shot that hit Kennedy in the throat. But that's all of it's, you know, that's documented truth about things that nobody ever, it's been so mixed, convoluted by the media that it was a confusing situation for all these years. You asked, they said, like, who was the number one cop in the country when Kennedy died? Do you know?
No, I sure don't.
Everybody would say Hoover, right? Head of the FBI.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But he wasn't. His brother Bobby was the attorney general. And 4 people went to see Bobby before Jack went down to Texas to tell him. And one of them was Adlai Stevenson. Do not let Jack Kennedy go to Texas because the animosity down there is horrendous. And Bobby Kennedy, who was his brother's second skin, everywhere he went in his political career, did not go before, he wasn't there during, and he never went afterwards to Dallas.
Yeah, I've actually traveled to the spot where Kennedy was assassinated at. I was a kid, but
yeah,
I have been there, yeah.
Well, the Bird building, first of all, it took them 6 months to reroute that down Dealey Plaza.
Yeah.
And the shot coming from the Bird building, and here you have the President of the United States in an open car with all this animosity down there, and the people in the Bird building walking around with the windows open, you know, and the hobos that came off the train that walked across the bridge that the car had to go under. And one of them was a hitter from New Orleans, who was Woody Harrelson's father.
Oh, wow. Woody's dad.
Woody's dad was a hitman for Carlos Marcellus.
That is wild.
And nobody ever, you know, it's just the whole Warren Commission is total self-made man up, you know.
I can certainly say that I haven't read your book yet, but now I'm definitely going to.
Well, it's all there.
And I'm very much looking forward to the film and the series.
Well, it's going to be a great film. Yeah. And the series will be terrific. The series is going to be dynamite. Because we're going to tell a lot of things all the way back, how things opened up. And what people don't understand is how a lot of organized crime money in the very beginning went into the growth of the country. They created jobs for people because their first initial business over here was gambling and loan sharking and extortion. If you didn't have money, how could you pay them? So they made sure you went to work.
Yeah, sure. And then the labor unions even.
Exactly. Belonged to us, the labor unions, the waterfront, insurance companies. They invested in Sears and Roebuck. They invested in General Electric. You know, Meyer Lansky was a sharp guy.
Sure. Do you plan on appearing any in the film or the series?
I don't know. We're trying to work that out. I probably will, knowing me, but I don't know. I'm going to produce it. That's for sure.
I know your fans would sure love to see you again on the screen.
Well, we're getting ready to do a great picture called Ballad of a Simple Man, which is a picture in Ireland, which originally was called The Informer, and won 4 Oscars in the 30s. So John Ford directed it.
Oh, yeah.
Victor McLaughlin won the Oscar for leading actor for the first time a character actor did that. So we have a great script, and I wrote it like 40 years ago, and we're finally getting around to doing it. So I'm looking forward to doing that real big time. It's going to be
great.
Yeah.
So you're going to be filming that pretty soon then?
Yeah, well, as soon as we're able to start moving around here and traveling, you know.
Oh yeah, of course. I think everybody's ready to start moving around a little.
Well, you know, we have a major project in Nevada. We're building a a 4 million square foot studio over in Nevada. The industry is going to move to Nevada, and we're going to put for the first time everything under one roof for television and music and movies and streaming and every bit of technology and, computer bases and all the computer technology. And we're putting a smart city next to it so it'll handle 25,000 people who we're going to employ there. So people only have like 15 minutes to go to work instead of hours.
Wow, so just like one big multimedia center.
Correct, which is going to be great for the university over there and for the state of Nevada, and it's going to work out very well. Plus, we're building it out of industrial hemp, which is going to revolutionize construction business.
That's pretty interesting.
The book is great, and we're just getting ready to put it into 6 languages and do it. And it's going to be great.
And Jack, where can people find this book?
It's on Amazon right now. You go to familylegacythenovel.com, and there's the first book that we put out about 10 years ago is there, and it's a 5-star read. But this one that we're going to publish now is even going to be better yet. And then the second, third, and fourth are just going to be monsters. We're going to really unload a lot of stories and tell the truth about a lot of things.
And do you already have drafts written of the third and fourth books?
Yeah, we've got a lot of material put together that we know what we're going to do with it, yeah.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're going to be busy for some time then.
Well, just you got to keep your mind going to keep it sharp, You get up to a certain age bracket, you just got to stay thinking. You can't sit around and get idle.
Yes, sir. Shifting gears a little bit, out of all the actors you've worked with, who was your favorite?
Oh, by far Mitchum. Mitchum and I became very, very close. And, when I did Farewell, My Love, it was the first movie I ever did.
I kind of figured you were going to say that. But who doesn't love Robert Mitchum, right?
He was such an amazing actor and such an amazing individual. Probably one of the most well-read men I ever met in my life.
So charismatic, too.
Oh, he was incredible. The guy was, and he if you had to have a mentor in the film industry, that's the guy to have.
Absolutely.
And he helped me tremendously. I mean, I never took an acting lesson or anything of that nature. He was my acting coach. In fact, one day I was walking out of Goldwyn Studios and we were working about 4 weeks on the film. And the editor, who was an Oscar winner, he had his office was right by the gate. And he stopped me and he said, Jack, this is the first movie you've ever done? And I said, yeah, first time up the bat. He said, well, I'm sitting here cutting this picture, young man. I got to tell you something. You're going to be a major star. And I said, really? Thank you. And I went to Mitchum and I said, wow, man, maybe I should go to UCLA and take some elocution lessons or some acting lessons or something. And he laughed. And he said, stick with me, kid, and you'll fart through silk. Don't worry about a thing. He said, you're doing fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. And he taught me the technical aspects of what I needed to do. And there's some things in the business you can't teach people. You either have it or you don't. It's a word called presence.
Sure.
You have a presence on the screen that the camera wants to see and people want to see, or you don't.
Because not only do you have amazing screen presence, but you also, I've watched some of your old fights, you also have had a pretty big presence in the ring as well.
I was supposed to play pro football, and when I was in the days when I was playing, they didn't have what you call hardship cases. You could not play until your class graduated from college in the pros. So there was a lot of us that went to school for a year or two and then dropped out, and so we played in a farm system. I was picked up by the Jets, and I played with it on a team in Philadelphia called Tinicum AC. And Jimmy Christie and Dick Christie, who played for the Jets, was a running back. We all played there till we were eligible to play. And then when I was eligible, Philadelphia had a great team, a lot of friends of mine playing down there. And did Jurgensen and McDonald and a lot of great ball players. And I said to Eubank, I would like to go down to Philly to give it a shot down there. And he said, yeah, no problem. But then they hired this guy, Joe Kuharich, as a coach, and a new owner, Jerry Wallman. And the guy traded a championship football team away in about 2 months. And that became very frustrating. And then Ali won the title. And I said to some friends of mine, I can beat that guy. And they said, that's a good idea. And they threw me in the gym, and there you go.
Yeah. I would have loved to have seen that fight.
Well, we were signed 4 times. It just never happened. It just, and he was a good friend. I kind of liked Muhammad was he was an incredible athlete. He'd have been a great athlete in whatever sport he chose to do. He was just a pure athlete.
Yeah, and just on charisma alone, he really probably could have done whatever he wanted to.
He copied that from George, Gorgeous George, the wrestler.
Sure.
He got that whole persona. They told him that if you shoot your mouth off and stuff like that, 50% of the people will come to see you lose, 50% will come to see you win, but they'll all come.
Yep.
He revolutionized boxing. I mean, he took people to make money in it, and he changed it around. He was colorful. There's no doubt about that.
Indeed. Another question for you, as long as we're talking about boxing. We all know you've done battle with Superman, the Man of Steel, and Superman 2. Now, since you were in the ring with George Foreman, I got to ask, was his head made of steel?
Who, George?
Yeah.
That was an interesting fight. First of all, I didn't train as hard as I probably should have trained for it, and I don't use that as any excuses. I never put an excuse out for anything. But when I first started boxing, I was like 16-0, and they did a physical on me one day, and they told me I had a disease called acromegalia, which is a tumor of the pituitary gland. And the doctor said, you shouldn't be fighting at all. He said, I don't know how you ever get in the ring. He said, because it causes deep depression. And I said, yeah, well, guess what? So it was my day job. I was involved in my father's business at night, and boxing was my day job, and I had to have a day job to keep the law away from it. If you know Philadelphia, well, then you understand what I'm saying. When I fought George in the Garden, the first few rounds of the fight, I was winning very easily. And he caught me a shot. And I walked into a punch. My own fault. But I got up, and they stopped the fight right away. And that really hurt me a bit. And he was kind of glad that they did. And he would never fight me again. George was a good guy. He was a good fighter, tough kid, could hit, could punch like a mule. And it was it was an interesting fight. But the reason I backed into the fight was because in a few months before that, I had beaten the guy who was a number 2 ranked heavyweight, Manuel Ramos. I knocked him out in L.A., and then nobody would fight me. And then they made the Foreman fight on a real quick deal, and I said, yeah, sure, why not? Boom, boom, boom. The fight in the Garden and all, and it is what it is. It's like when Norton and I were signed. I mean, Ali and I were signed to fight in San Diego when I was California heavyweight champion, and he Norton's people had a lot of money, and some money went to Chicago for Herbert Muhammad, and Ali and I had already signed an agreement to fight in San Diego. And he called me on the phone, and he was like in tears saying, geez, Jack, I'm really sorry, but I had no control over this. Bang. So he fought Norton instead. And then we were supposed to fight in Australia when he fought Bugner, and then we were supposed to fight another time, twice more it was. So, we were always looking for scheduling dates and stuff. I had beaten the guy, Alvin Blue Lewis, who went 13 rounds with Ali in Ireland. And then he came back and he beat Terrell, and he beat a couple other heavyweights who were really good. They were looking for another Ali fight with him, and I went to Detroit, and I beat him pretty bad. So and I went to Ali's camp afterwards, and I said, it's time you and I got it on, Sunshine. And he said to me, Jack, he said, if I really give you a shot at the title, he said, are you really going to try and beat me? I said, let me tell you something. For the very first time in my career, I will go to camp, and I'll train like you do. And when you come in that ring, bring a gun with you. And he said, 2 steaks, please. And he was a good guy. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, what could have been? What could have been? Who knows? If you would have got that fight, you might have been the next heavyweight champ, and you may have never got to have the storied acting career you've had.
That's true. I tell you, when I started boxing in the 60s, and I was up in Boston, Steve McQueen came there to do the Thomas Crown affair. And we looked after him to make sure he was okay. And he and I became really good friends. And he said, man, come down on the set. We'll put you in the movie. He said, you got to come back to Hollywood, Jack. We'll have a ball. And I said, I don't think so, man. I'm undefeated as a heavyweight. I got a pretty good career going for me. And I don't think I'm ready for this deal. And then he kept saying to me, you got to come to Hollywood. And he kept calling me on the phone. Man, you got to come out here. This is, where you belong. And then in 1968, after I knocked out Manuel Ramos, they came to me and offered me The Great White Hope with James Earl Jones, which was a big picture. And the deal was supposedly set some people from the East Coast thought I should get off the street, and they was taking me to Spain for 6 months. And I said, but I just knocked out the #2 heavyweight in the world. And you want me to leave when I have a chance to fight Ali? And I said, no. They couldn't believe I said no. And I was leaving Fox, and James Earl Jones was coming up the steps, and he stopped me and he said, Jack O'Halloran. I said, James Earl Jones. He said, is it true what they said about you? I said, depends on what they're talking about. He said, you just told Hollywood to take the biggest movie, and it was the biggest movie at that time, and stick it. And I said, well, if you want to look at it that way. He said, I got to shake your hand. I never knew anybody that did that. We became pretty good friends after that. And then McQueen got on the phone plugging me more and said, God, he did a picture called Towering Inferno, and his name was Captain O'Halloran. And he called me on the phone. He said, how you like your name up on the screen? He was. And then when I retired from boxing, then they came to me to do Farewell My Lovely, and I said, I think I'll give this a shot. So they took me to Hollywood, and I did a screen test, and Mitchum said it's either him or I don't do the movie. So I blame it all on Robert Mitchum.
Well, that's not too bad a thing to blame on him, I don't guess. I mean, you gave us a lot of interesting characters over the years, and worked with just a who's who.
Oh yeah, I've been very lucky.
Hollywood royalty.
Hackman, and I did a couple pictures with Gene Hackman, and working with Brando was a trip. And Terrence Stamp is a brilliant actor. And I worked with Omar Sharif and Jimmy Coburn, and Chuck Norris.
Yeah. That's what I was about to ask. Didn't you work with Chuck too? Yeah.
Yeah, we did a picture called Hero and the Terror.
Hero and the Terror. I saw that when it first came out. Man, you scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
That was probably one of the best movies he ever did, actually.
That was a great movie.
As an actor. Yeah, but just saying that Canon ran out of money and they didn't promote it properly.
With your career, it sounds, you're talking about making a movie off your book. I'd love to see a movie made off just your life, your career.
A lot of people say that,
Yeah.
The movie actually, Jack Pagano, the character in the book, is me as a young man. It's actually my life as a young man.
Who would you want to play you in a life story?
I don't know. I think we're going to find a newbie and make a star out of him, I think we're going to find somebody. There's 2 roles in that picture that would make stars, and I think we've got our eyes on a couple people, and it's gonna work because there's a lot of cameo roles that a lot of very good actors will do to fill it out and stuff. And it's going to be a great movie.
I'm very anxious to see what becomes of it. And I got one more question for you, Jack, as we're winding down here. If you could give any advice to 20-year-old Jack O'Halloran, what would it be?
Keep your day job. The acting business is a hard business. It's not an easy business. Either, like I said, the camera either loves you or you have a presence on the screen, or you work your heart out to claw your way through. But it's a very frustrating business for some people. I was very fortunate. The first thing I did, Farewell My Lovely, I actually probably could have won supporting actor that year if I had done what people do. And Mitchum had made an arrangement for me to meet Johnny Carson at the Polo Lounge. And I went to see Johnny Carson. We sat down and he said to me, you do my show and I promise you, I'll get you nominated for supporting actor. And I said to him, I looked down, we sat and chatted a little bit. And I said, but your show is live, isn't it? And he said, yeah. And I said, I don't think I can do it. He said, why? I said, because I'll walk out on the stage, you'll ask me about my father, and I'll ask you where the men's room's at. He said, you would get up and leave? I said, yeah, I don't talk about my father. I don't want anybody else talking about him. And he said, well, we'll arrange the questions that we ask you and stuff. And I said, John, no disrespect, but, you're the biggest reporter there is in television today. And you have Albert Anastasio's son sitting on your set, and you're not going to ask me about my father? I said, I didn't fall off a turnip truck. I said, I appreciate the offer. And then Mitchum yelled at me like crazy. What is wrong with you? He said, Jack, it's Hollywood. People they love that stuff. Eat it up. What's the matter with you? And I had just come off the street. So it was one of the first mistakes I ever made. It was a dumb mistake. Because the pictures
are stuck to your guns.
Picture's a great movie. I don't know if you ever seen it, but it's a good movie. Farewell My Love.
You and Mitchum in it. I mean, can't go wrong there.
Oh, it had a great cast. Harry Dean Stanton, John Ireland, Charlotte Rampling. It was and Anthony Zerbe. It was a great cast. And it worked. The music was brilliant, and It had 4 Oscar winners on the crew. Dean Televeras won the Oscar for the set designs of The Godfather, and John Alonzo was the cinematographer for Chinatown. And the makeup guy was an Oscar winner. The editor was an Oscar winner. So had a hell of a crew because of Mitchum. They all came to work because of Mitchum.
He was just one of those guys that you could just pull people in.
Well, he was like, he was like that. Brando was like that. Omar and Coburn were like that. Brando was amazing. I loved Marlon. Marlon and I became good friends. I liked Marlon. And he was a New York guy. He knew my father. He knew a lot about me.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I mean, like I said, I want to see your life story on screen.
I'll tell you a picture. You ever see Dragnet?
Oh, absolutely.
Dragnet was a good flick, boy. That was Danny. You could watch Dragnet 50 times, and you still wouldn't get all the one-liners that Danny spit out.
Oh my goodness, Aykroyd.
He just had so many one-liners in that movie. It was a mind blower. I shook my head. I used to laugh. We had a lot of fun doing the movie.
Oh yeah, you could tell it. You could tell it by watching it. I mean, it was one of those movies like Cannonball Run. You knew the cast was just having a blast making it.
Yeah, and it was Tom Hanks' breakout movie. So it all worked out very well, actually. Thank heavens.
So how was Tom? I mean, is he really that funny in real life?
Yeah, Tom's a nice guy. He really is a nice guy. Tom Hanks is a fine actor, and he's a nice guy. And he's a funny guy. But nobody was funnier than Aykroyd. Aykroyd was a trip. With the technology today, this hologram technology really worked. I have an amazing storyline to bring Christopher back.
And for the sequel to Superman 2?
Yeah, well, we're going to bring Christopher back, and we have a great storyline to bring the 3 villains out of jail, and we turn their thinking caps around, and they become cohorts of Superman.
And that'd be great to see Non back on the screen again.
Yeah, it's going to work out pretty good, actually. We have we're just waiting for the smoke to settle because AT&T just bought Warner Brothers, so we need to get a license from them. We're just waiting for things to settle down. And with this hologram technology is brilliant.
It's amazing what they're doing with it now, yeah.
And you brought Christopher back, and we did a Superman movie the way we did the first 2, with that all-American way, and not having Superman run around killing people and stuff. It would be.
Yeah. What's your take on the newer crop of?
Oh, they get darker and darker. I just shake my head.
Especially the DC ones. The Marvel, they get pretty serious tone, but DC, it seems like with their movies, they're one extreme or the other,
They're all trying to come up with a gimmick to beat the other guy, and they're getting killed by Marvel.
Exactly.
So if they use their head and sit down and listen to us, and we bring this series back the way we want to bring it back, it could be a game changer.
Do you think Donner would get involved again?
I had talked to him about it, and I think if we had the whole proposal all put together, I think he would.
Yeah, because I know he's still wanting to get Lethal Weapon 5 off the ground.
Yeah, he
does. Looks like that might happen.
He does he still does the comic books for Superman.
Yeah, that's dedication.
Stick loves Superman. He loved it. The Salkinds made the worst mistake in the world when they fired him off of that picture and I blame Christopher because Christopher should have stood up and said, "No Donner, no me."
Yeah, because he was already established by that point, so he probably had to do that.
Oh, absolutely. All he would have had to do was stand up, but he was naive. He was young. It was the first big movie he ever really did, and we had done Superman 1 and 2 together. I don't know. Have you ever seen the Donner's cut?
I have not.
Oh, you got to watch the Donner cut. You really do. Go out of your way to watch it. The Donner cut is so much better than the Lester cut. And it's just sad that he didn't have the ability to finish it the way he wanted to.
Yeah, still ended up being a great film, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it was. No, you couldn't help it because Dick had already shot 86% of it.
Yeah, and not to mention the great cast. Great script.
Yeah. No. The componentry. It was all, it just worked. The chemistry was great. Like I said, Terrence is a great actor. Sarah was a great actress, and working with them was a lot of fun. And when they came to me and asked me, how do I mind doing this mute character? And I said, Jackie Gleason was a good friend of mine. He did a picture called Gigo, and he won an Oscar for it. And I said, if I ever had an opportunity to do a character like that I had to use facial and body expression, I would embrace it. And then when I read the script, and Terrence was a vicious general, Sarah was a man eater. Somebody had to relate to the kids. So I took this brutish guy and I played him like a child. Learning how to work my eyes and stuff, and it worked out pretty good.
Oh, absolutely.
We had a lot of fun with it, actually.
Yeah, well, I think everybody had a lot of fun with that movie.
Yeah, they did. They still do. 40-odd years later, they still do.
Yeah, it still holds up.
Well, we broke a lot of technology rules when we made that picture. We shot VistaVision on VistaVision, so when you see us flying around under bridges and around buildings and stuff, and the fight scene up in the air, and it was done without wire.
Yeah, and that's why it still holds up. I mean,
we shot VistaVision on VistaVision. It was long and tedious, and but it worked really well.
Yeah, it definitely was one of the first films to define the action blockbuster.
Yeah, you're right. It was. Enjoyed doing it too. Boy. I had a lot of.
You too.
Take care.
Doms and subs, masters, mistresses and slaves, owners and pets, daddies, mommies and littles, primals and prey, switches, heathens, kinksters and deviants. Welcome to Legion After Dark. Legion After Dark is a movie review podcast with a kinky twist. I'm your host, Lady M, and every episode I'll be reviewing a movie with a BDSM or kink theme. I'll also be talking about books, sex toys,
Welcome to Rabbit in Red Lounge, where all your dreams come true.
Well, this is the show, Rob. This is the show.
This is the show.
We watched Mike fumble with his iPhone for an hour.
Yeah.
Rob, Mike, are you both familiar with each other's work?
I think so. Only because I remember hearing about you back from Skeleton Crew.
I was waiting.
But Banana Laser. Banana Laser. This is the infamous Father Mahoney.
Okay, so this. Okay, yeah, that's what I remember.
Mahoney
yeah.
Gate.
Mahoney
That's
Gate.
what I remember. Okay, yeah, that's it. That's what I remember. That I vaguely remember it because it's been so long ago. But yeah, I kind of remember it.
I've come a long way from that delusional state I used to be in.
I think a lot of us had delusions back in that state.
Hey, it was never a dull moment, though.
No, God, no.
No, I remember those. Actually, I remember them very fondly. I do.
Oh yeah, it was great. But and you know it was all lighthearted and fun. But
Well, Cosmic Reaper said it best. It was all a big misunderstanding.
Oh yeah, when he did the rap song, yeah.
When he did the Mahoney
song. What do you guys think about the new Texas Chainsaw reboot?
Talking about the one that hasn't been released yet? Or are you talking about the Leatherface one from the UK?
No, the one they haven't released yet. The one that hasn't even. It was supposed to start filming, I think, but the Corona put it off.
Yeah.
God, who is it, Mike? That's attached to that? Who's directing it?
I don't know who's directing. I know Fede Alvarez, who did the
Fede Alvarez
is producing it.
Okay, he's executive producer. That's who was attached to it. That I was thinking of.
I just hope they do it justice. That's all.
I hope. Fingers crossed.
See, I don't know though, and I wonder because it's like it seems like they're going to do a Halloween 2018 with it, and just like I know like do a direct sequel to the original, ignore the sequels, which I mean, okay, it's fine, but do we really want movies to start ripping off of like the trend of just, you know, ignoring sequels and just starting like that? Why not just do some sort of a I don't know, a fresh story on it? It's just
my seems on Halloween is they shouldn't have ever got rid of Halloween 2.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah, just picked up Halloween 2018 after Halloween 2. Yeah, why not? You know,
I even say they should have kept all the sequels after that because I love 6. 6 is one of my favorite.
You and Michael J. are going to get along just fine.
6 is brilliant.
It's brilliant. It is brilliant. I'm
favorite
just
film of all
sad
time.
that Jamie Lee. I mean, I think it's more Jamie Lee wanted to make it all about her. And I'm not dissing her. She's a fantastic actress. But I think they should have definitely kept everything up to 6.
Yeah, I mean, and I definitely liked her portrayal in 2018 more so than I did in H2O, because in H2O she just seemed like she was this, you know, the cliched
survivor,
PTSD,
you know,
with alcoholic stuff. It's like, do you really need that?
Damn, alcoholic.
We've seen it before, right? We've seen it before.
Yeah, I agree with your analogy on that because I was thinking to myself, like, that kind of experience would have made me stronger, not weaker. And she seemed weaker almost to me.
I agree.
Right. No, she definitely did. Speaking of that, what are some of your like memorable horror viewing experiences? The first time that you saw something that maybe really
really affected you, and you know,
right?
I would probably say, and this is going to sound really, I would say Scream, and only because of the fact that around that time horror movies were starting to kind of like die off, or they were becoming too cliche.
slashers had played out.
And when Scream came out, it was like almost like an exciting time. I loved the kind of like the mock where they were talking about the rules of surviving a horror movie, and
the whole meta approach to it, which the same reason I enjoy Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yes, no, I love New Nightmare too. I went to see that at the theater, and I was totally blown away by the performances. Like Heather Langenkamp, that was her best performance.
Yeah, I thought she was good in it. I thought England was good in it. All the throwbacks to the original, great stuff.
It was actually kind of cool seeing Robert Englund out of character playing himself, being victimized by the Nightmares of Freddy too.
Definitely.
Well, you know what? Now, tell me what you guys think on this. Do you think New Nightmare, which, you know, it came, 94, right, Mike?
Yeah, 94.
It came 2 years before Scream. Do you think if it would have, and it didn't do that well at the box office, you think if it would have come out after Scream, a couple years after Scream, that it would have been a lot bigger hit? Because Wes Craven was big again. That really jump-started his career again with Scream, and the whole meta approach to the horror genre. I think it would have made a world of difference.
I mean, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I say it's possible too.
I mean, I don't know though. But Cody, you're one. You like New Nightmare?
I adore New Nightmare. It's
good.
It's like in my top 3.
Good. And
who is the series?
Who is it, Alex, that does not like New Nightmare? Is that correct?
A lot of people don't. I just can't see it. I watched it recently even, and I mean, it shows its age a little with the whole 90s. But that being said, I see all these themes from Scream in it, you know, before Scream. It's just so original.
It was a pioneer, for Christ's sake.
Exactly. And
It was a pioneer.
the conclusion is kind of wonky, but still, I'll buy it.
No, I agree. I think it's top 3 also.
Top 3 Nightmare films. What are they then?
Oh God. Rob, you go first. I have to think on this for a second.
I always have to go back to the first one being my favorite because it's frightening. It's something new that hadn't been tried before, being terrorizing this. So I would definitely say my favorite is I know I'm doing this number. It's supposed to go 3, 2, 1, but number 3 would definitely be New Nightmare, and number 2 would be Dream Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Timber.
You shocked him, Rob. You shocked him.
He heard Nightmare. He's like, oh shit.
Okay, let's see. I'm kind of. Oh shit. That almost came up with something else. Okay, I'm kind of in the same realm here. I think. I'm a little different. All right, I agree with you. Definitely, that one is probably the best. Basically, I mean, that's the original. It's the first one I saw. It is what it is.
And it scared the crap out of me, honestly. The first one.
No! When I first saw that when I was 5 years old, it was the first horror movie I ever saw. I couldn't sleep for a week after I saw that fucking.
Yeah.
So yeah, it terrified me. But yeah, so I would have to go with the first one, then Dream Warriors, and I like Dream Master a lot. And that might be the nostalgia factor for me. I like that one a lot, and that gets hate too. You know,
it does. But I like Dream Master.
Dream Master, I don't hate it like a lot of people hate it. I mean, I can watch any of the films in the Nightmare series. Well, it's kind of near and dear to me because that's the first 80s slasher franchise that I really got into and watched consecutively. I enjoy them all for different reasons. I mean, top 3, I got to do part 3 is number 3, then New Nightmare, and then number 1, of course, is the original.
So we're all in the same ball.
Well, no. Let me scratch that. Not the original. I meant to say the remake.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no.
No.
God, no. Please.
I'll watch any of the original 7 before I watch the remake. I've tried.
Don't be a road shittennial. Oh no.
No,
That's like putting Troll 2 in your top 10 movies.
Oh my God.
Troll 2, I can enjoy more than watching the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. People say it's not that bad, though. And these same people want to bash the Friday the 13th remake. I'm like, what? I love Jackie Earle Haley. He is one of my favorite actors. But Nightmare remake, just the pacing. The acting was not terrible. It was just lousy script, lousy execution. Yeah. And I was all on board.
Freddy one-liners, holy shit! I mean, come on.
Yeah, I was all on board for him to take over the role. I wasn't like a lot of people saying nobody else but Robert Englund can play Freddy Krueger. I'm like, give it time. You know, it's just like the Universal monsters. Eventually, it'll have to be handed off to somebody else. I think it was just a little too soon, and it was just a little too shitty a script.
I like Jackie Earle Haley. I go back to the Bad News Bears with him. I grew up with Jackie Earle Haley. When I heard that he was being cast, I was hopeful, but I was also one of those people that said, why isn't Robert Englund? But I was like, okay, give it a chance. And I went to see it, and I agree with the pacing was terrible. His voice was terrible.
Well, the voice augmentation, I would have rather just heard him. He's such a talented actor anyway. I would have just rather heard his take on the Freddy voice, you know.
Yeah. I agree.
But all that, I mean, you could tell it was augmented. It didn't even sound natural. The shitty CGI. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. I'm a practical guy. I don't like CGI at all.
I got to admit, I probably went in with too high of expectations. I mean, come on, guys. New Line Cinema is the house they call it the house that Freddy built. You know, I expected them to blow me out of the water with a remake on the film that basically launched their production company. I just can't give props to the Nightmare remake, but I will give props to the Friday remake. I mean, it's not a perfect film.
I was going to bring it up because when they did the remake for Friday the 13th, and then they did the remake for Texas Chainsaw, I thought Texas Chainsaw remake was pretty good. I was hopeful when they so far 2 for 2. And I thought maybe Nightmare was the next one, and it just wasn't.
No, but we got that with a lot of the remakes. I'm actually more excited now that they're doing a bunch of reboots, doing direct sequels. Why not start again? It's most of these franchises. It's been 30 years since we've got a sequel, so why not?
Yeah. Right. I don't know. I just think it's going to get tired after a while if you keep doing it.
Oh, yeah, just like the
Over and
remakes,
over and over.
that
Right.
the studios will keep doing it as long as it's making money.
Yep.
And then they'll move on to something else.
Right, and that's that. But that's just how it works, I guess.
Yeah, it's all about the money. Well, mostly about the money.
Like that with the new Candyman coming out too, so I'm interested to see how they treat Candyman.
Yeah, Jordan Peele producing it. I mean, that's the thing. They throw these guys' names on. Jordan Peele, executive producing, that doesn't mean a lot to me. I mean,
Right. That's
a lot
just
of times,
a position in a sense.
Yeah, they just
he's not even directing it or writing it or anything like that, I don't think.
Like Eli Roth produced. It's like a lot of these guys, I know they just pay them to put their names, put them on a producer slot. Just like a lot of like Indiegogo campaigns and Kickstarters, that's a tier. You can pay to get put on as an executive producer, just to put in the credits, you don't actually have any control over the finished product. Which,
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure it's different, in major studio films, but a lot of them probably just take a big chunk of money just to have their, to be attached to it.
Yep, I agree.
Right.
But I mean, speaking of studios, we might as well get into our main topic. What do you guys think? Are theaters going to be a thing of the past pretty soon? Or they just going to be like a thing like people collecting vinyl records? Or, are they here to stay?
They're gone.
Okay.
They're gone. They're definitely gone.
As much as I like to say that they'll stay, because I don't want them to go, but realistically, I think because of this whole Corona, and I think it's going to change people's perspectives on getting too close to everybody now. I think eventually that the theaters are going to get hit so hard that they're just not going to be able to keep going.
I agree. And I hope they bounce back out of this. And I mean, because people are always going to want to go on dates at movie theaters, take the family out. They talk about people, it's just so much more, it's a hassle to take kids. But for me, it was always, I relish anytime I get to take my daughter to see a movie, just me and her, sit down, just the whole experience of it. So, I mean, I hope she grows up to want to do the same thing with her kids.
Well, I hear they're talking about, they're trying to do drive-in theaters again.
We have a drive-in theater that I go to pretty regularly about an hour from me.
Wow.
But they've been in business, I think, since the 50s under different owners, but they've never shut down. But I mean, they're an old school and they got a playground for the kids and the cook shack where they serve hamburgers and hot dogs and pizzas. And I mean, the food's really cheap there. It's just a really awesome place. I mean, it's like a time capsule when you go in there because everything's just exactly or almost exactly like it was 50 years ago.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's neat, actually. I like that idea.
But yeah, anybody in Southeast Missouri, check it out. It's 21drivein.com. You can find them on Facebook or just Google it.
See, but what gets me, though, too, is now when they reopen, do you think they're going to lower prices any? I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to do that.
No, I don't think they will. Mike, they show a double feature every Friday and Saturday night.
Oh, you're right.
Drive-in, yeah, every Friday and Saturday night. They're not open year-round. They open like usually open, I think, in May and run till the end of September, early October. They'll show a double feature of 2 new movies every Friday and Saturday night, and it's $5 a person for both movies.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And they still have the radios that, on the post, the speakers on the post, where you can hang them in your
shit.
They also broadcast it, too, so you can turn it on your car stereo, like a lot of the...
I want to go there right now.
It's pretty awesome. I have to do a commentary from there sometime. It gets better, Mike.
Better.
On Thursday night, they'll show, which sucks because I have to be at work super early, so I don't ever get to go to the Thursday night show because it's an hour away from my house. But they play a classic 80s movie every Thursday night there. They've done Dirty Dancing, Princess Bride, they've done Jaws, and I didn't get to see Jaws, which last summer, that breaks my heart. Hopefully they'll play it again. I'll just go with
I thought you were
absolutely.
I thought you were going to say it was like a Donald double feature or something on Thursday night.
I so wanted to take my oldest daughter, to see Jaws, but it was on a school night, so that didn't happen.
When I used to live in Ohio for a couple of years, we had a small local cinema that every September and October every Saturday night. They'd play an old classic 80s horror movie. I got to see Creepshow. I got to see Friday the 13th original.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to see Pieces, if you remember that one. Pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
That was great, seeing Pieces. All that blood on the big screen.
Do you know if they were like 35 millimeter prints, or were they just digital?
The Pieces was 35 millimeter, and Friday the 13th was 35 millimeter.
Oh,
Creepshow was on VHS projector type thing. But Creepshow, we also had one of the special effects guys that used to work with Romero in answering questions for us.
Damn, you guys get all the cool events. What the fuck? And I get nothing here. Fucking Philadelphia sucks.
Hey, Mike. Don't you get the? Wait a minute. You got a 4D theater, don't you? That does the 4D events, right?
Yeah, fuck 4D. Ugh. I mean, no, 4D is nice. I shouldn't say that. It's nice, but I want to see Friday the 13th.
Come on. I think I heard you talking about going to see Rise of Skywalker, and you got like Kylo Ren splooge on your face or something.
It was okay. Yeah, that was amazing. I'll give you that. I want Friday the 13th in 35 millimeter and Pieces in 35 millimeter, and I want to see Jaws on a bigger screen.
I missed Sleepaway Camp was being shown in 35 millimeter, and I missed it.
Oh, okay.
You're dying over there.
Okay,
I know you
Rob,
want that.
You missed Sleepaway Camp in 35 millimeter. I missed back in February. I would have had to drive about 4 hours to see it, but they had the Fayetteville Comic Con, and they had the cast of Sleepaway Camp there. Felissa Rose, Jonathan Tiersten, Judy, who played Judy.
Karen Fields?
Karen Fields.
Yeah, that's it.
They had all them. And part of the package, and it wasn't bad. It was like $100 for the package where you got to meet them and get the signed autograph, and then that night sit down and watch a 35 millimeter print of Sleepaway Camp with the cast and to have a Q&A afterwards. No, not nice, because like a month before it, they I don't know if it was a scheduling conflict or what, but they eliminated the movie showing.
Oh,
boy.
So I'm like, I'm not going to drive 4 hours to go wait in line for 3 hours to get an autograph. Yeah, I was very much looking forward to that.
I have a picture of the name is escaping me. The one that plays Meg.
Was on The Young and the Restless.
Yeah, and Felicia Rose in full costume and their Sleepaway Camp costume. I have a picture with that.
That's awesome.
And I have a picture with Bruce Campbell, which is like I'm never gonna forget Bruce Campbell.
No, well, you and John Rhoades will get along great then.
Yeah, the shit-ennial.
This was from earlier in the show, Rob.
Oh, yeah, earlier in the show. You'll get it. And
you'll hear it on the next episode.
You'll understand the shit-ennial and enjoy him. No, but was Bruce actually like nice? Did he actually talk to you, or was he like, here, get the fuck out of my face. Here, get the fuck out of my face. Here, get the fuck out of my face.
A little bit of both. Because he had a line of about 400 people waiting to take pictures with him.
Oh, fuck him.
Yeah, I got to the front of the line, and this lady's like, as soon as you walk in, Bruce will tell you what to do. And I'm like walking in, and I started panicking. I'm like, oh my God, it's Bruce fucking Campbell. So he looks at me and says, hey, how you doing? I was like, here. He goes, look cool now. So I look cool. He goes, next.
Oh my God!
But just for him to say, "Look," I was like, "Okay." It sounded like a one-liner from like something else we could do. Like, look cool.
What did he charge?
$50.
Yeah, not terrible.
Yeah, that's so better than Nev Campbell. Thank God.
How much is Nev Campbell?
Nev Campbell was fucking $100 for a picture and an autograph, and it was like a 30-second experience, and it sucked because it was like a fucking conveyor belt. Like you just go to people and they give you the picture and all that stuff, and she just says hi to you and I say hi, and then, do you have anything you want me to write, like for a quote? No, that's okay. So I think she just wrote, what's your favorite scary movie? And that was what I got. And then we stood up and I stood next to her and we took the picture, and then that was it. And it was like $100 for that. I'm like, I had true buyer's remorse after that. I really did. I was like,
well, my commitment was worth it. I got a kiss from Felicia Rose.
She is such a sweetheart. She really is.
And I got a kiss from Adrian King too.
Yeah, I've never seen
my Friday the 13th group, the one that started all the banana laser stuff. have a lot of alumni in that group. And I've known Adrienne King online for like 10 years. So when she finally met me, it was like, finally, and she like runs up to me and gives me a kiss.
Oh,
that's cool.
I've never seen her personally. I think she was on one of the earlier Rabbit and Reds. She might have been on in 2010 or 2011, and she was really nice from what I can remember.
You guys are lucky because you both get conventions close to you. Like I said, the closest thing I've ever got to me here in the Midwest is I would have had to drive 4 hours to go to, and then there really wasn't much there to see.
What was the second part of the topic?
If we thought digital on demand was going to replace theaters, and if theaters were going to go away. But,
well, I still think I still think digital probably will end up overtaking it at some point, only because it's $20 for a premium video on demand title, which is what like The Invisible Man was and The Hunt was. And I mean, if you go to a movie theater, you're paying $20 just for the ticket in most cases, at least around here.
It's like $7 here.
Oh my God. Where do you live, Cody? I need to move there.
Hey, are you familiar with the corner of Bumfuck and You Got a Pretty Mouth? Right around the corner.
Oh boy. All right, well, there we go.
Got a pretty mouth there.
Oh my God.
But still, by the time you pay $7 for a ticket, and then you pay friggin' $20 for popcorn, a bit large popcorn and 2 sodas, it still kind of balances out.
I mean, it does. And considering, I think when we went to see Rise of Skywalker, I went with my brother, and I think for 2 tickets, just for the tickets, it was like $50 for the 2 tickets, and that's just tickets. You add fucking popcorn onto that, which I got to get my popcorn because they had the commemorative Star Wars bucket, so I had to get that. And I think we ended up spending over $100 that night.
If theaters do become a niche thing like vinyl records,
they're going to raise the
yeah, it'll go through the roof,
and that's going to suck, and they're going to fail anyway.
It's about $12 around where I live. I got popcorn and drink for $12. $12, $24 covers what you would do on the on-demand.
Yeah, and we don't even have any IMAX or anything within close driving distance around here either. That's just, they have a couple of 3D screens, but that's about the extent of it. Yeah, theaters might bounce back. We may be way off base. They may make.
I hope they do, but I don't see how they could right now with the economy the way it is. Even when the economy goes back to normal, people are going to be playing catch up from all the bills that they missed, all the doctor's appointments they missed. I don't think people will have time to worry about movie theaters in the beginning.
Yeah, and plus everything's pushed back until major stuff is at least now pushed back until 2021 anyway at this point. So you still have to wait a year for...
Yeah, because they're not going to chance releasing it now or releasing it even when the theaters first open. They're not going to take a chance releasing it then and taking a huge loss.
Right, unless you're an indie company and you're releasing a movie starring Russell Crowe. Yeah, that's not gonna really make much of an impact, I don't think. It's just like I'm prepared to watch Halloween Kills at home come October because that's what I think is gonna happen.
I hope so. I hope we have that option to watch it at home.
Yeah, if possible, I'll go to the drive-in to see it.
I have to go to Missouri just for that.
I hope it's better than Halloween 2018 though. I like Jamie Lee in 2018, but some of the storyline was hard for me. Like the guys who went to the guy and the girl who went to visit Michael in the beginning, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I didn't.
It was a little over the top, wasn't it?
I didn't like the doctor.
No.
Yeah, the whole doctor where he like kills, and I'm like,
oh yeah, Turkish Loomis.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Fuck him.
But I do love that they paid homage to Halloween 3 though, with the masks.
They had a lot of nice little nods in it.
Yeah.
Shamrock mask, I love that. That was great.
Yeah, it definitely catered towards the fans. I really enjoyed the movie, don't get me wrong. But I thought some of the dialogue was really clunky.
I hope this next one is a little bit more well thought out.
The way they're talking, this one's going to be a lot faster paced. But I guess we'll see. Hope for the best. Personally, at this point, I'm just glad we're getting another Halloween movie.
Yeah, I agree.
When we're not getting... That's the only one of the big 3 we're getting any sequels or reboots of right now.
Yeah, at this point. So yeah.
What I want to know, why hasn't New Line jumped on this reboot fad? You know, I mean, we obviously know why Friday the 13th. It's stuck in limbo still, but why New Line? I mean, they're free and clear with the rights to the Nightmare series. I mean, why not cash in on it now?
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder.
Especially when
wonder.
Frank England said that he's got one more Friday 13th in him. Yeah, I mean, or Friday 13th. Oh, you touched it late. One more Nightmare on Elm Street. But why not?
That's like Kane Harder saying he has one more Nightmare on Elm Street movie in him.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah. I would actually like the Kane Harder play.
What I meant to say was he has one more Freddy versus Jason in him. You know, one more Friday 13th, crossover. And I'd love to see him do another Freddy versus Jason.
I'm not a big Freddy versus Jason.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I was so disappointed in that the first time I saw it at the theater. I went on opening night, and then I went back the next night with a big group of friends and watched it, and it was a completely different experience the second time I watched it. That second view, I really enjoyed it.
My big gripe is that they didn't get Kane Harder.
That was the most off-putting thing for me, that, they had this golden opportunity and they just threw it away.
And in fact, Kane Harder has said that he called them a couple times and they seemed interested, and they just kind of never called back. So they kind of just threw him to the side and said, "We can get someone cheaper."
Well, he was going to work for just slightly above scale. Ronnie Yu had no experience with either of the franchises before, but he was a big Universal monster movie fan, classic Universal monster. So he was like, well, just from the interview I saw with him, the way I took it, he basically wanted Jason to be Frankenstein. He wanted a big lumbering, and he was directing Ken Kersinger to lumber around and basically be a modern day Frankenstein.
I did love the cornfield scene. The cornfield scene was the highlight for me.
Like I said, I really enjoy the movie still. I mean, it's got its moments, and then it's got several cringeworthy moments too. But we finally got Freddy and Jason in a movie together. So, and we thought we were going to get a sequel. They were talking about it a lot. I mean, the movie made money. Wasn't meant to be. So
still better than Jason X, though.
I enjoy Jason X. I still enjoy Jason X.
Yeah, I do too, kind of, only because it knows that it's fucking
off the wall.
Yeah.
That you don't make a movie with Jason in space without knowing that it's going to be absurd.
There are some things I liked about it. I liked some of the kills were great. Some of them were very creative. But I thought the ending, that they completely ruined the ending. And Jason comes back and falls into the lake again, and I'm like, really? He's gonna fall
I thought
back
that was kind of cool. On Earth,
yeah, right through the atmosphere, right into Crystal Lake. That's like,
what are the chances of him falling right into Crystal Lake?
And this was my first. Well, the whole movie was absurd, so why not? They're like, why not just take it that one step further? And
yeah, well, they did.
And also, that was my first Friday film in the theater.
Really? So, holy shit!
Yeah.
Wow. My first one was Friday 5.
Oh, what do you think about that now, Rob? Are you glad now that movie's finally... People hated it for the longest time for the same reason they hated Halloween 3, because it didn't have Jason and and Halloween 3 didn't have Michael, and now people, they're really seeming to now be getting their due. People are really appreciating them now.
You know what? Right now, I have somebody creating the Friday 5 Hawk right now.
Cool.
And I've always loved Part 5. I think it has some of the most vicious kills. It has a lot of kills in it, too. It has some truly likable characters. Even Ethel, I like Ethel.
I just like it's so sleazy.
Mm-hmm.
It is. But it was also directed by a sleaze director, too.
Yes, true. But Ethel, come on, Ethel.
Ethel was the most enjoyable character in the whole series.
Eat your fucking slop.
Yeah.
I'm always been a big 5 supporter, and I chat with a lot of the 5 alumni. I chat with Melanie Kinnaman quite a bit. They're also the nicest people behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's really cool. A lot of them, even ones that didn't really, they kind of shunned doing those movies after they did them. And now they've kind of, a lot of them come around, to appreciate them. Even Adrian King has said that. She just wanted to break away and not be known just for that. Now she appreciates it more. Of course, that's how a lot of them make a living, from doing conventions and whatnot now. So, of course, they're going to say that. But I'm sure a lot of them are genuine about it. You make a movie and 30, 40 years later, people are still excited about it. There's something to be said for that.
I think that's the great thing about horror. You can't say that about a lot of other genres. You can't say
that was horrible. That was horrible. That was horrible. That was horrible.